Hi, everybody. All right, we are at our third part in the quilt for the borders. So we're just going to go ahead and we're going to get started. Okay, so when I looked at my pattern and I measured it against the border, this is the seam that I need to butt up against. But as you can tell, I've got this much space from where my design ends for my border, okay? Now we're going to go ahead and we're going to look at the pattern on the screen. All right. So I have maneuvered the pattern, okay, to fit where I need it to go. But because my seam is down here, I actually need to make the pattern a little bit longer, okay? There's not enough room for me to add an extra section. So I just need to use this section and make it a little bit longer. Now I'm already in transform. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come here and I am actually going to pull this out just a little bit. And we'll see if that works. When I move my sew head down, because I've got it lined up, I can go just a little bit further. And I know that you're probably thinking, oh, you're going to run into this. That's fine. I can move this out of the way. Okay. So we're here and I need it to come down. I'm moving my machine. It needs to come down about right here. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pull it down to where I hit that line. Because as you can see, whoops. Here is the point right here, okay? Let me make it just a little bit bigger. There you go. You should be able to see this right here. Here's the point of this petal. Be right back. Okay, my son coughed. I had to run and go suction him out. All right, so right now, as of right now, this section is gonna fit in my quilt. Now, let's say that you have a space that is even longer than that, but it is going to be too short where you may have to cut off part of the pattern, okay? You have a couple options, all right? You could, let me come up here to this one. You've got two sections here. So you could either increase the length, or if it was, or you could shorten it a little, or like me, I got one section I can put in there, okay? But you don't want to increase it so much that you're really distorting the pattern. You may have to add another section in there, and then when you get to here, let's say right here under these two little cherries is where you need to stop. That's okay, because then what you could do is take this line and then wrap it right into your border. Okay, I know that I'll show you when I'm quilting what I'm talking about, but that's going to be how we connect the side border to the bottom border. All right. So what I'm going to do right now is I am going to go ahead and I'm going to sew this little section in. And when I get to this point, I will show you how I'm going to connect it over to this section. Okay? All right, so I finished sewing this section of the border. And we are down to this section, but I still need to do the section in the middle. Okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and reposition my section in the middle. And then when we do the bottom of this border, I will show you how you need to connect this from here all the way over to here. okay? There's a couple different ways that you can do it, but we will get to that because I want to be able to get to this section here in the middle, okay? Okay, now the middle section here, I did have to finagle this in here, okay? I ended up putting it in a transform to make it just a little bit larger. And you may have to do that, okay? I don't know why the pattern shifts, but it does, and you just kind of have to work with it. If you notice here, I've had to move the pattern in some to stay within my seam line away from the border. So once you get down to the bottom, you may, like I didn't have to change any of these, but once I got down to the bottom, the last row, I made it fit, but I had to go into transform and I had to just lengthen it just a few smidgens, and I had to make it a little bit smaller over here and then bring in the right-hand side, okay? Now I'm gonna go ahead and get this sewn, and I'm gonna go and do the right-hand border, and then we will come back and we will do the bottom border. So at this point in the video, I am quilting out the middle section of the quilt, and I'll also be doing the right-hand border. I want to take this moment to thank all of my subscribers for sticking around and waiting for new videos. If you are not subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. It takes time to make the videos and to edit them. I was going to make one long video, but it was much easier to break it up into 3 parts. And each part is taking anywhere from 5 to 6 hours to upload to YouTube. So thank you again for watching. Don't forget to turn on your notifications and hit that like button. And if you have any comments, suggestions, or questions, please write them in the comment section. I do read all my comments and I answer all the questions. I appreciate all of you, and I just want to say thank you again. So here I am on running view, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to loop around to get to this point. Now, what you could do is you could come up here and you could actually add your grid and add your patterns to see where everything is at. Okay, so here's my pattern on the grid, and here is where I am, where I want to get to. Okay, now what I could do is just come around here, do this, and then maybe do another circle like this to get over here. Okay, now mind you, I am already at the edge of my quilt over here. Okay, this is not reflective of what I am looking at on the actual quilt. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I am going to take this off because I don't like having the grid on there. We'll take off the, well, we can leave the patterns on. I will take the grid off. Make sure you apply changes. That way you can see everything on there. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to catch up to here. and I will show you on the quilt how it looks. All right, so right here you can see I am double checking where my design is going to go in that border. Okay, now even though I'm treating this as a simple edge to edge, it's just smaller in size, I'm still going to check my border. And on the right hand side, as you can see, my border for some reason was way over the edge. Not that much, but it was still over the edge. And here I am coming back and checking the top of the border to make sure that it doesn't go over my seam line. All right, and you got to make sure you do this, otherwise it's not going to turn out right. Okay. All right, so my bottom border is now done, and I just treated it like a regular edge to edge, all the way across. Okay. On the corner here, all I did was I came up from where I ended on the first one, came down. Since this has circles in them, I drew a couple circles, free motioned, and then attached to my spine right there. And then I went all the way across. Okay, so for all intents purposes, this quilt is done with the exception of the binding, which I have to go get fabric for, which is going to be awesome because we get out of the house. Anyways, this is how I do borders, okay? Now, like I said before, once you complete a quilt that has borders on it, you're going to think this was really easy. If you treat the borders as just edge to edge, you're doing an edge to edge, but in a smaller section, that's going to make it really easy, okay? So when you look at this pattern and you see all the different blocks, the red and green blocks, don't be scared off by that, okay? Just remember that this is actually your top border and you just flipped it around, okay? Or, you know, your bottom border, all right? You got your top border, you just flip it around, put it along the side, and then ungroup it and do each section as you roll your quilt, okay? Very simple, very easy to do. And once you get the hang of it, and like I said, as you get down to the bottom, you may have to adjust your last row and then the border at the bottom, okay? But that's not going to be hard to do, all right? Because you already know how to use transform, so you can just adjust it and move it, you know, where it needs to be on your quilt, okay? That is it for today, and I really hope that I've helped you out as far as doing borders. On the next video after this one, I will be doing blocks and triangles, okay? I have to do up a sample to get that in there. But I will get that video out shortly thereafter. But I hope I've helped you and given you some new ideas as what you can do with your Pantovision. And as always, I hope you have a great day and happy quilting.